Welcome in. It's Tri-State Tailgate. Here we are for another jam-packed episode, following our thoughts, leading into finally some spring football. I don't know if you guys know, but today was Alabama's first day hitting the field. I believe they're on the field right now, practicing for their spring game. And, we got 15 practices to see what we can kind of get fixed. And that's what we want to kind of lean into and talk about tonight is about entering spring camp for each one of our teams, Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee. We want to talk about the biggest position group of worry, I guess you'd say, about what is really keeping you up at night. What position group, as a fan of that said team, do you look at and you say, man, if we can get this position right, or if we get this position wrong, it can really make or break our entire season. So we're going to start with Chunk here in just a minute, but I did want to say from the start that I do really appreciate all the support, all the backing that we've had this week, the great response to our very first episode. And y'all bear with us now. This is our first time really ever doing this, stepping out on a little bit of faith, trying to do something we love to do, and that's just talk about college football. Of course, we back all of our teams with Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, but we just love college football. And we just want to be here to entertain, to inform, and to just have fun. So we love you and appreciate you being here with us and hoping to grow this community. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, share our clips, share our shorts. Anything you can do to get Tri-State Tailgate's name out there is a huge thank you from us. So tonight, like I said, we're going to get started talking about Tennessee football. And, of course, Chunk's going to be the one kind of kicking us off. But, man, what is your expectation or worry or a group of concern going into this year in spring football and also going into fall camp, but a position group that you're most concerned about this year?
Well, Adam, ever since you brought up that topic about my main concern for Tennessee Vols, there is actually a few concerns leading up to my main concern for the Volunteers next season. Is everybody knows that Tim Banks, we fired him last year, and we brought in Jim Knowles, our new defensive coordinator, who was, by the way, Penn State's defensive coordinator last season and Ohio State's before that, and which they were ranked first in total scoring defense. I believe he has something to prove this upcoming season. He brought in a lot of good transfers and also a good coaching staff with him. So I trust that he's going to get the job done there. And we also have a good linebacker returning, Aaron Carter. He's returning from last season. So I'm just a little concerned about, how are we going to execute on the defensive side? But that's really not what's keeping me up at night on the defense there. But, that's just some concern there. And then also I look at our receivers, and everybody knows in the Tennessee football land, we lost a big leading receiver last year, Chris Brazzell. He was a huge playmaker, man. He was one of Joey Aguilar's go-to guys. And he put up some incredible stats last year of 62 receptions. He totaled a little over 1,000 yards, and his longest yard reception was a 72-yard reception, man. That's just unreal how Joey Aguilar bombed the ball downfield. But and I don't know if you guys saw it, but over in the NFL Combine, the dude ran a 4.37 40-yard dash, man. So, I mean, that really, the guy's a cheetah, man.
Yeah.
So that really does affect our receiver core there. Yeah. But I want to talk a little bit about the emerging returning talents that we have at receiver. We've got Mike Matthews. He's a 5-star recruit. We recruited him a while back. I'd like to see whoever it is at quarterback that we have this year. I'd like to see him get the ball a little bit more and see, let him make some big plays. But also beside him, we got Braylon Staley. He's a 4-star, he was named SEC freshman All-American last season. So that kind of, calms my nerves a little bit about the wide receiver. But over in the transfer depth, we have Tristan Keys. He's a 5-star freshman coming out of Hattiesburg. Mississippi. We flipped him from LSU. And also we've got a 4-star hometown native there, Tyreek King out of Knoxville there. So when I think about, on our receiver core and our offense, I think, okay, hey, that kind of calms on my nerves a little bit there. So I know we're pretty good and at receiver, we're stacked there. But many of you guys know that Tennessee is known for wide receiver U. We're wide, we developed some
Who
good
says that?
we developed some good wide receivers, guys. And you know what baffles me is we're going from wide receiver U to QB who. Who is the next quarterback next season? I mean, you hear it all over podcasts, who's the next big playmaker for Tennessee next year. And as a Tennessee Vol fan, I've got to be honest with you guys, I'm mostly concerned about that position. So I'm going to dig in a little bit here. So now, don't get me wrong. I believe in the program, and I trust Josh Heupel's system. Tennessee, we've had some great quarterbacks in the recent years, and that's a big reason the offense has been so explosive there. So but right now, the quarterback position is I'm a little uncertain at that. What's going to happen there. So we are heading into the season with a lot of talent at quarterback, I believe. But like what me and you talked about, Adam, but they've got a lot of talent, but not a lot of proven experience.
Yes, yeah.
And as well as I know, in the SEC, quarterback play can make or break your season. So you've got to have a good quarterback. You've got to have a good leader there at that position if you want to make it to the national championship. So when you're facing elite defenses week after week, you need a quarterback who's not only talented, but like I said, Adam, is ready to go to war, buddy. It's battle tested. Someone who's been in big moments and knows how to respond under pressure. When you're in the 4th and 1 in the red zone, what are you going to do? Are you going to pound it and get that first down? So right now, the big question is whether one of these young quarterbacks can step up and take control of our offense. I mean, maybe one of these quarterbacks become the next Joey Aguilar. We don't know yet because we haven't seen them in play yet. But until we actually see it on the field, that's going to be my concern because Tennessee right now, guys, the expectations at Tennessee are high. You can tell by the hat that I'm wearing. It says playoff bound. If you remember, we went to the playoffs and we got boat raced by Ohio State a couple years ago. And, last season was not our season, guys. We went 8-5. So I believe right now, our expectations are high. And every Tennessee Vols fan, we're wanting to get back to that expectation. And, if you want to compete for the SEC championship and college football playoff, it all starts with strong, consistent quarterbacks. So
that's exactly right.
Yeah, hopefully, I'll be watching the quarterback position coming up April the 11th at the orange and white game. So we'll see what happens. What happens there, Adam. So back to you.
What do you think, Michael? What do you think about the quarterback position in Tennessee? I mean, we know that you had names like Hendon Hooker and Joe Milton and now Joey Aguilar. Those are hard acts to follow. I mean, I think the hardest one to follow is probably Hendon Hooker. What he did, my goodness. He should have been in the Heisman Trophy race, but of course that ACL didn't let it stand. But what do you think about going into the season with Tennessee quarterbacks? I mean, I know they don't have much experience. What's kind of your thoughts?
Well, we've talked about it before with Joey Aguilar not getting his eligibility granted, but I think these guys they've got coming up hopefully will be able to fill that spot because there's a certain type of quarterback I think that Tennessee consistently has, like a certain brand of football that they want to run, just like with any other program. They want to plug in their guy, and that's going to be their guy that's going to lead the program. But I think Tennessee, man, if they can get a guy in there like that's going to find the wide receivers like they want them to, I think they'll be okay. But I'm not even really sure who's the next man up there, like we're talking about, who's going to take Joey's spot. But I think if they get a guy in there like that, because that program just has like a brand of those quarterbacks, I think they'll be okay.
Well, the coolest thing about Tennessee, though, I don't know if you guys, I mean, I'm sure you do, especially Chunk, but when you watch Tennessee, the difference that they really have in a scheme-wise that really picks defenses apart is how wide, like Chunk said, the good thing about returning is their wide receivers. I mean, they put their wide receivers out so far. I mean, they're outside the numbers. You just don't see that, and that's what helps or really hurts defenses that go against them because it makes you defend the whole area of the field. You can't leave one blade of grass open for them, or else they're taking the deep shot. I mean, you look at Alabama when they went up to Knoxville in 2022. I mean, that one right side, I think it was Hyde. I mean, just over and over again with deep shot after deep shot after deep shot. I mean, we just couldn't stop them, and that just really puts defense in a lot of strain when you have to face if you can find that quarterback that can get them the ball. I mean, Joe Milton was great at times, but the biggest thing that I always seen about him is seeing that overthrow a whole lot and overthrow. So you got to be accurate. I mean, you also have to be efficient to get the ball to him. But I'll tell you one thing that Chunk, I mean, he don't have to worry about at all, and that I think Heupel really hypes up and wants to do is run the football. They want to run that ball, and when you can run the ball and sustain a constant run game, that helps the quarterback out tremendously. So that's going to be something that's going to be really key in the first few games that Tennessee has to play is can they, one, protect their quarterback, but can they also help him with giving him a productive run game to set up those play-action pass, to keep the defense honest and give him the over-the-top deep shots. Can they do that consistently? And that's only going to help the quarterback situation. So who is some quarterbacks, Chunk, on the team that you kind of point? I know you got Ryan Staub as a transfer, but who else is really there that you think can step up?
Ryan Staub out of Colorado. We haven't really seen much of him. He doesn't have like too good of a stats, if just my opinion. But I believe I've seen George McIntyre play. He's played only 2 games last season, but I haven't really seen the guy air the ball downfield. Can he get it to these stud receivers that we have coming back next year? And this new kid, this new 5-star true freshman, Faison Brandon, man. I don't know if you guys ever seen his highlights or even heard of this guy, but I'm pretty excited to see what this guy comes in and he does, man. Like, I'm hoping he puts up a good battle because I would love to see this guy start over any of the other guys that we have. But that's what we're at.
I'll tell you what's also going to be it's going to be make or break. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at their schedule, and you go second game of the year, you play Furman. We hope that's a win. I don't know. Georgia State, you would have said the same thing a couple years ago. No, it's different time. It's different time. But you got Furman first. You go to Georgia Tech. You're playing Texas at home after Kennesaw State. Then you got Auburn at home. Then you've got at Arkansas. Then Bama comes to town. And you got at South Carolina versus Kentucky, which, could be a good win. But they play at A&M versus LSU, at Vanderbilt. So they play a lot of talented teams. If you just go by that, just how much talent they're going to have to play on a consistent basis, it's going to be very tough. It's going to be very tough for Tennessee to have a great year if they can't get that constant quarterback play.
Well, that's the thing, Adam. I mean, we've got talented quarterbacks, but we don't – I mean, do they have the experience? That's the thing that's going to make or break us. And we've got to get this established before the season even starts, or we're going to break mid-season.
Yeah, because you can't wait nowadays. You can't just say, well, we'll get – because you may be really good by game 11, but by game 11 – I mean, even by game 6, you could lose to Georgia Tech, you could lose to Texas, you could lose to Auburn, you could lose to Alabama. Right there, you're 1, 2, 3, and 5 right off the bat. If that's what happens. So if you don't get that constant, you got to have them ready out of the gate. We can't wait till week 11 to be on fire. We got to come out week 1 on fire and ready to go.
That's right. And that's why I think this coming in April, orange and white game, we're really going to see what's going to happen. We've got to have him, whoever it is, developed and ready to go,
Yeah. There ain't going to be no, we can wait. They'll grow into it. Oh, no. You trial by fire. Amen. That's what's going to happen. I mean, What do you think, Michael? I mean, we talked a little bit last week about these SEC games and how, you just have to be so competitive. And you just got to fight for 9 conference games. But Not only that, but you're out of conference games, and you just got to be on the ball, on the ball, on the ball. I mean, what do you think about like a younger player going into those hostile environments and those huge games? What do you think about that?
Well, it's for me, it's going to make a star. It's going to make or break that upcoming quarterback, because most teams kind of dropped off the non-conference games that they didn't necessarily have to play. Georgia still has Georgia Tech on their schedule every year, but the fact that Tennessee has them as a non-conference game that they don't usually have to play, that's huge. I mean, you already have a 9-game SEC game conference schedule, and then you have Georgia Tech on top of that. And I don't know, man, just like you say, you could really lose some big-time games or some close games really fast with that schedule they've got to start the season. So if their quarterback isn't just like on the ball immediately, then he's just – I don't know, man. That's a sketchy situation for Tennessee.
Oh, yeah. Well, me and Michael have kind of been there in the past. We've been there. So I think it was in 2016, we had a freshman, Jalen Hurts, start. In 2017, you had Jake Fromm at Georgia start. Both freshmen. And it is so, I don't know if you would say, not agonizing, but kind of heart-wrenching when you're like, I don't know what they're about to do. I mean, last year they're in high school. This year they're playing against – I mean, Jake Fromm's first start wasn't that Notre Dame?
Notre Dame, yeah.
So, I mean, you got to go in there and you got to be able to play. And it really is kind of worrisome. Can they do it? But the only way to know is put them out there on the field.
Yeah.
That's the only way you know to do it.
Well, like Notre Dame, like that's a quarterback situation that's a good person to bring up, because, man, he took right off after Notre Dame. I mean, I think it started with Jake Fromm, Kirby Smart's kind of go get the ball. Like, he was just so good after Jake Fromm, and since then we've been pretty good at being consistent and stuff. So I think he was kind of like the make or break quarterback for Georgia that we didn't even have starting. He had to come in after somebody got hurt. So yeah, hopefully Heupel's better at getting a guy in before the season starts, which like you say, we're going to go to the orange and white game and kind of see that for ourselves. But
right. Well, I just looked up in 2019, guys. 2019, Brian Maurer was the first true quarterback that we've ever started in 2019.
True freshman?
Yes, true freshman quarterback that started. So So, that kind of makes me a little uneasy. Why are we in this situation? I just don't understand it.
Well, how did
especially with the coaching staff.
Exactly. I mean, Josh Heupel, Adam, I told you he's a Heisman Trophy winner out of Oklahoma. So how do you get to this point? Can you not dip into the portal just a little bit more and be able to afford a better quarterback than what we have?
Well, my thing is, I think they tried. They just couldn't get nobody. I mean, everybody was outbidding them. I mean, that's the thing. You wanted to try to go get Ty Simpson, but he said last week we talked about it, but he said I'm gonna have my hands at Denny Chimes and that's it. But I think everybody they tried to go after, they didn't come. I mean, that's sad enough to say, but I think Ryan Staub or even the guys they have on the field, I think they're going to be okay. But I think the biggest question mark is sometimes a coaching staff can almost get in their head too much. When if you have a true freshman guy, you've got to go with what helps them. You can't be like, you're going to learn my system. You're going to do it my way. If you're going to put a guy out there that has no experience, you got to say, man, what do you do? What do you do best? And you have to sometimes conform your game plan around them rather than around your game plan, if that makes sense.
Right. And personally, my opinion, Adam, if I was a coach, I'm putting in George McIntyre. First game, Furman that we play. I'm putting George McIntyre. I'm saying here, the first half is yours. And now I want to see what Ryan Staub can do the second half. And then or not the second game because we played Georgia Tech, but then the game after that, I would say, okay, Faison Brandon, let's see what you got. I'm going to let you play a whole quarter. That's the only way to truly to give them that experience, is to just throw them into it.
That's right. So. Like I said, trial by fire. But the biggest thing, too, is I listened to a quote this week, and I may not get it exactly right, but John Summerall was talking about his quarterback battle. And I think this goes along with every quarterback battle in the entire country, is that it's not the quarterback that necessarily the head coach wants to pick. It's going to be the team that picks that quarterback. It's going to be him hyping up the players, him getting the right play call, him finding the right plays, him limiting the turnovers. That's what's going to win over the team. It's not going to be, oh, I'm the best known or I'm this, that, and other. It's going to be your play on the field. And you're going to know who that quarterback's going to be. I believe even when we go watch the orange and white game, we're going to see how the players react around this quarterback and that quarterback. We're going to know, I mean, very clearly. And I think, they may not know right now on the depth chart. They may be trying to make everybody question. But I think going in after spring ball, you're going to have a good idea of, like, this is the guy that the team rallies around.
Yes, sir. We're going to find out who the true leader is.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. So, but it'd be good. But after talking about Tennessee a little bit today, I kind of want to talk a little bit about some Bama football. Like I talked about a little bit before we got on the show, is that today is Alabama's first day of spring ball going in. And we play, I think, the same day, April 11th. I think UGA plays April 18th. But going into my season, like Chunt was just talking about the quarterback competition, I think Kalen DeBoer, being an offensive line coach, is going to have that figured out. I think offensive line, we had enough revamp. We had enough people leave that, you're not really questioning the offensive line as much. We had to change the offensive line coach. So for me, my main position of concern entering into the 2026 season is definitely going to be the inside linebackers. So if I can give you guys just some stats for just a second that I wrote down right here. I put that last year, Deontay Lawson, which was a three-year captain with Alabama, and then Justin Jefferson was a fifth-year senior, and Nakai Hill-Green are all leaving. Those were all our three main middle linebackers from last year. Deontay Lawson had 80 total tackles. Justin Jefferson had 79 total tackles, and Nakai Hill-Green had 54. Okay, and what that adds up to is 213 total tackles across our team for the inside linebackers. Now, for our entire team together, we only had 837. So just those three players, as the number 1, 2, and 4th highest total on the team, accounted for 1/4 of the entire tackles on the team. Okay? So I looked and I said, well, that's a lot of experience going out the window. That's a lot of experience leaving. So who are the guys coming back? So there's 5 guys that are returning. Do you know how many total tackles those 5 players that are returning to Alabama had combined? 25. 25 total tackles, game experience. Some of that is special teams.
Oh, my
It's on special teams. So there is a dramatic drop-off. I mean, that's what's giving me nightmares, brothers, all right? I'm sitting here at night like a Chihuahua dog. I don't know what to do. I'm scared to death. Amen?
You might as well strap the pads on and go help them play.
Right. I'm a little heavy right now. I have to cut some weight. But no, but that is like what I'm most scared of. And I wrote down right here in my notes here that out of those 5 linebackers, so we also did get a transfer coming in. His name is Caleb Woodson. He's out of Virginia Tech now. He's a 6'3", 230-pound linebacker. He had only 58 total tackles. But you had Caden Jones coming back, QB Reese. Now, QB Reese is a kid that Deontay Lawson at the NFL Combine was really high on, saying that he could be that next leader, that next guy up, and was really giving him some praise about things he did last year that he thinks is going to elevate him this upcoming season. But, again, just the experience just not there. You have Duke Johnson, Abdul Sanders, and Luke Mintz. And Zay Hall is the only linebacker that came out of high school that's coming to Alabama. But, again, the experience just ain't there, guys. That's the biggest key I think we're all going to talk about tonight is experience. Yes. With all of our positions, I mean, the worrisome is the experience part because now, and we kind of talked about it last week, but with like Indiana and all these players that are like Ohio State the year before, if you think of one consistent theme with those teams was how old they were and how experienced they were and how much time they had on the job, as you'd say. That's the biggest difference now going into this type of football, this type of new era in college football that is really going to make or break you is just, can you get an experienced team? Can you get a team that has been together, that has meshed together? I think we had that last year, but there again, we ended up just at the Rose Bowl getting our doors blown off, So, I mean, that's what happened. But, and even last year, going into it, Deontay Lawson was thinking about leaving. Justin Jefferson was thinking about going. They both came back. So Kalen DeBoer was even asked about this earlier in the year last year. He said the position of concern I had was for our linebackers because I thought Deontay was gone. I thought Justin was gone. Well, now it's happened. Now they're gone. That leadership, the two alpha dogs that you had, they're gone. And I think back to a time in 2019. I don't know if you guys remember this or not. I mean, this is probably something only Bama fans would know. But in 2019, we had a returning linebacker, Dylan Moses, was real big. Yeah. He was big time now. But in summer and fall camp, he tore his ACL like 2 weeks before the season started. Well, in 2019, we actually started 2 true freshmen when we took on Duke that year. But you could see it. Through the season, you could tell that was like a big spot in the team that was like, man, you can just tell they're young. They got to learn this. You got to have time on the job. And that's where I feel like we're all this year. I feel like we're in the same boat of, man, they got to have time on the job to get this job done. But I think they're going to have a lot of people in their corner. I mean, you think back to some Alabama greats like Deontay Hightower, C.J. Mosley, Nico Johnson. You got all these guys, Reggie Ragland. I seen you guys that highlight the other day coming across the middle of the field against Georgia, or Reuben Foster. There's so many guys they can pull from the past to help them. But there's really nothing you can do when you line up between the white lines. That's when it's going to make or break you. And what with a linebacker, that sometimes is your alpha dog. That's the guy that comes in and he really almost sets the tone for the defense. Now, I think personally we've got that in Bray Hubbard on the back end and our safeties. And the safeties is what's helping me sleep at night. If I just thought about my linebackers, I wouldn't get no sleep. But our safeties, our secondary, they're going to be just fine. But the middle linebackers, as you got to know, is really the cornerstone of the defense. I mean, that's the middle of the field. That's usually the alpha. That's even, a lot of people are talking about the quarterback situation. This is the quarterback of the defense. This is the guy that usually calls the plays. So this is really going to be a big spot going into our schedule. We start out with Kentucky. We start out, I think, with Eastern Carolina. Then we got Kentucky. Then we've got Florida State. And then we're hitting the road hot, playing South Carolina, then Georgia, overnight. So we've got to go straight into it. Like we said with Chunk, trial by fire. That's how we're all going to be this year. Right. So it's just going to be up to Alabama to really hone into these linebackers and hopefully these other players, the safeties, the defensive line stepping up to maybe help. If this is a weak spot in the team, you've got to help. You've got to rally around and you've got to help these guys out. And, don't just dog them all the time, but if they mess up, help them up if they make a mistake. Help them when they get down, because there's going to be days when they're going to question, say, am I good enough? Well, you got to go to your brother in arms and you say, buddy, we got your back. We've got you, man. We got you. You just got to have my back. So that's the difference, I think, that they're going to have to find this year is their inside linebackers and just find that experience after week after week after week playing. And I think they're going to be okay. I really do. You got Kane Womack as our defensive coordinator. He'll have them in the right spot. But I do just worry about the experience side of it. So what do you think, Michael? What's your thoughts on middle linebacker situation?
Well, I don't know, man. I just feel like Alabama's like a powerhouse program, kind of like, Georgia, Alabama. They've all been in that same category when it comes to just getting these guys that want to come to Georgia, that want to come to Alabama, they want to come to these teams that they know they're going to be elite. Even with Nick Saban retiring, I feel like Alabama still has that name. So to me, it's like whatever guy comes in to fill that role, I think they're going to be all right. I really do. Whoever it is, if you're a linebacker for the University of Alabama, Tennessee, or Georgia, you're pretty good.
You're pretty elite. That's right. There is a difference. There is like I just said, the word elite. There's a difference in being good and being elite. If you want to be a national championship contender at every position, you have to be elite. Yeah. Good enough is not good enough. You have to take that next step. So we got to find those guys that are ready to do that. That's the biggest key. In all of our schools, I want my team to go in the Natty, and I'm sure you guys would say the same thing. So this is like the position of mine that I'm like, man, if we don't get the right guy, if we don't get the right player, that really it could be a very, very glaring spot and hole in that defense. When you have other talent around them that, man, they're going to be just fine. Yonzé Pierre's coming back. Like I said, Xavier Brown's coming back. Dijon Lee, all those great players are there. But if you have this one weak point, you got a Josh Heupel, You got a Kirby Smart. You got all these teams. You got Lane Kiffin on the schedule. We got all these teams that are going to try to find any help or any hole they can find, and they're going to execute on your team. And this is the point where I'm like, man, because can you imagine getting Bishop lined up on a linebacker? That's what they want. And if you get a linebacker that may be right out of position, well, if you get Bishop with Tennessee, man, he gets that ball, he's gone to the house. So if you could that one mistake could cost you an entire game.
I can't agree with you, even anymore, Adam, is those linebackers, they run the defense, buddy. They lock it down. They hold it together. And like you said with Tennessee, brother, I wouldn't be too concerned about y'all safeties and cornerbacks, because remember last year that pick 6 down there at the 5-yard line? Boy, I was so heated. We tailgated down there. Well, I was hot, but I couldn't agree with you anymore about those linebackers, buddy. It's just, Alabama, they got to do something there. They got to establish those linebackers, before any other big explosive play running teams like Tennessee, or Ohio State. They just got to get it together before they play them. But
biggest thing is just effort. Go out there with some effort. There was times last year where even these studs, Deontay Lawson, Justin Jefferson, all these guys. If y'all guys remember back to the Florida State game, buddy, people wanted to burn Tuscaloosa to the ground.
Yeah.
And it was one word that you heard all week was effort.
Yeah.
And people just weren't running to the ball.
Yeah, and the guy you just talked about, the safety, Bray, what was his name? Bray Hubbard.
Bray Hubbard.
Put
some respect on that name, son.
Well, they called him out. Quite a bit. They said, man, I felt like he didn't go after the ball for nothing. And then, of course, all that changed when he played Tennessee and Georgia in the regular season, that is. Yeah. But, I was like, man, that was a big-time guy that it's like, what happened to the dude? Because he's a go-getter. And he seemed like there was clips you would see that it's like, man, he wasn't going after the ball. The guy would run right by him, But yeah, you're right. If those guys that y'all have got coming in just buy into the program and put the effort in that's expected at a team like our teams, then they'll be okay. But you're right. You got to put in that effort, man, and you got to have that work ethic.
Yeah, that's right. You just got to go out there and go 100%.
Yeah.
If you're going to fail at going 100%.
Yeah.
At least you gave it your all. Don't go out there and halfway do something and then say, well, I tried. Man, go out there and play. Yeah. All of us know, man, we'd have died to be on Tennessee or Georgia or Alabama's team.
Yeah.
We give a lot. I got 2 kids. I could get rid of them. No, I'm just kidding. No, but we would give a lot to be on that team. And sometimes when you see just a pure lack of effort of just like maybe jogging to the ball or not, it didn't seem like they went as hard as they could. That's like, man, you don't understand. Like, I guess it's just passionate fans. We want to root for our team. We want to give our all to our team. And, we do our part with making the noise, but you just want to see sometimes a little more effort out of the team, and then you get sometimes. And I feel like that'll come. I feel like that'll happen over time, but it's just going to be like you want to see it now. You want to see it right now. But like I said, with these guys being so young, it's going to be challenging. There's going to be times where we're going to be like, my goodness, but you can tell they're young. They're just not experienced. But, it's going to be okay as long as like I said, we got to be really at our peak when we enter week number 1 because of the gauntlet schedule everybody has. But hey, you can grow. We always got room to grow. So when I talk about here on this podcast, I talk about my business that nothing's ever good enough. You can always do better. Always climbing to reach that next standard. So even when you think you have a good day, man, push hard the next day. Make that next day better than it was yesterday. So that's the biggest thing they got to really focus on. So. But Michael, if you're ready, man, we'll slip on over to UGA, the Dogs. Talk about the Dogs here, man. What is a position that you're looking at going into this spring and even into fall camp, thinking about, man, this really could hurt or make Georgia? What's the position you're thinking of?
Well, the thing that I kind of have just circled, and something like we have an ongoing theme of like keeps us up at night, is just the wide receiver group for us. Like I could go on about defense. We lost a lot of guys on defense. We lost C.J. Allen at linebacker. We lost some pretty good guys in the secondary. But as long as Kirby Smart is our coach, I don't feel like I'm going to worry about defense. I honestly feel like I'm always going to be able to think, okay, Kirby Smart's got us. He's got those guys in there that he wants, and we'll be okay on defense, whether that be the front guys on the line, whether that be the linebackers, or whether that be the safeties. Because we have a guy in Khalil Barnes coming out of Clemson. He's going to come in and be a plug-and-play guy. I think he's going to contribute day one, and he's going to be okay. But the position group that keeps me up is wide receiver. Because, and I know a tight end isn't a wide receiver, but we did lose Oscar Delp. We kept Lawson Lucky. He's still there, but Oscar Delp is gone. Oscar Delp is gone alongside Dylan Bell, Zachariah Branch, Noah Thomas, and Colby Young.
No.
That accounted for 90% of Georgia's offense this year.
Wow.
On as far as like passing the ball.
Yeah.
So that kind of worries me, because you got London Humphreys, who is the only other guy that had the big catch against Tennessee. He kind of kept us in that game. If it wasn't for his catch in the end zone there on 4th and 6, when I probably would have went for the 6 yards, but they went for the touchdown, and London Humphreys caught that ball and kind of got us into that overtime position. London Humphreys did. So we got London Humphreys coming back, and really, that's about the only guy I can think of. You got London Humphreys, and you've got a guy in Georgia Tech. This is a guy that we got out of the transfer portal, Isaiah Canyon, who really I don't know much about. But you got London Humphreys, Isaiah Canyon, and you got Lawson Lucky, of course, which is in the tight end role, and Nate Frazier, obviously the running back. He might get some passes out.
We know Bobo's gonna get his screens in, man. We know they're gonna get.
He may utilize. Yeah, and he may utilize. He might utilize Nate Frazier in that screen role this year rather than Zachariah Branch, because Zachariah Branch was that guy in the screen role. I mean, man, you could flip it out to him, and he'll make a play that should go for 5 yards go for a touchdown. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's the role for me that just really worries me, because our offensive line will be okay. We lost our left tackle, but we have almost everybody else. Drew Bobo is back. Our 2 guards are back. I think our right tackle and our left tackle left, but we played in those guys all year. We rotated those guys all year. So the left tackle, right tackle will be okay. But on the offensive side of the ball, that's definitely what worries me. I think tight end will be okay. Running back, quarterback, all those positions will be okay. But And the defense as a whole, like I say, I kind of have faith, or not faith, I shouldn't say, but I definitely have some confidence in Kirby Smart being a defensive guy. He will be just fine. But yeah, man, that wide receiver role is pretty scary to me, because Gunnar Stockton, whether he's a great quarterback or not, in some people's eyes, I think he's a good quarterback, and I'm very happy to have him on our team. But yeah, I don't know who's going to be his go-to guy. Zachariah Branch was that this past year. Noah Thomas had 2 touchdown catches in the Texas game, so he was a big-time role in that game. And Lawson Lucky was a big target for Gunnar. But yeah, the other guys coming in, I don't know, man. That's what worries me, is the wide receiver role.
Yeah, well, I mean, you think about it too. I mean, with all those guys that are leaving, one of the biggest things you think about, especially in the Bobo offense, is that those receivers have to be blocking receivers. With how many screens he likes to run. I mean, they have to be able to block. So with these new guys coming in, man, you got to find that physicality right off the bat. Yeah. You can't wait. You got to find that physicality, and you got to be able to go out and catch the ball. I mean, because you can't just have a guy that's great at blocking that can't catch very well, and you also can't have somebody that can go out and get the ball that can't block. Yeah. So you have to find that happy mix in the room.
The certain type of offense that Bobo likes to run, you're exactly right, man. They've got to be able to block and catch and be able to do all these things. And I really hope that Kirby has recruited guys that is able to do that. But yeah, I don't know who's going to be the next man up. We went out and got a guy from Georgia Tech, which I guess Kirby liked what he saw from him when we played him, played those guys. But we got him, and we got Landon Humphreys, and that's about all that I can think of are those 2 guys at the wide receiver position that Gunner's going to have to go to. And obviously, Lawson Lucky, he's big on hitting his tight end. So Lawson Lucky's going to be a big contributor there too. But, yeah, that's about it. And we have Nate Frazier, of course, but I don't know how much he's going to be in the receiver role. I know he's going to be able to run the ball, but yeah, we have.
Well, you know what? I'll name drop some players here. Everybody knows Todd Gurley, right? Todd Gurley, Nick Chubb, DeAndre Swift, Nate Frazier. I mean, Georgia is known for turning around running backs, and I foresee a running scheme next season when you've got a high caliber quarterback like Gunnar Stockton. I mean, you've got to have some receivers to get the ball to. I mean, my God, what's going to happen? Like, I just can't imagine. I can't imagine having a quarterback like that and not be able to get the ball to him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Somebody to catch the ball. You've got to develop some receivers.
We had a guy in Sokovie White Helton who come in throughout the regular season, but he wasn't like a big-time contributor this season. He was a big-time recruit out of high school, but he wasn't like a contributor day one. So he's probably going to get the ball a lot more. I think that Isaiah Canyon from Georgia Tech will. And then obviously London Humphreys, who's still there. But, yeah, man, aside from those three and then utilizing Lawson Lucky, I don't know because like you say, you have great running backs come through Georgia all the time with those guys you just mentioned. But yeah, you can't really lean on the run game if you don't have a pass game.
Yeah, can I say this though? I really think something like a point that I'm just thinking about when I'm sitting here is that when you really think about Kirby Smart teams, okay, when you really sit there and think about it, has there really been besides Ladd McConkey? That's the one I can really think about, and I may be wrong, but George Pickens, but he really wasn't all there. But has there really been that standout wide receiver that has really made that team? I mean, it seems like they're always really more reliant on the run game, and they just have people more or less at wide receiver to be almost, as you would say, a complementary to the run game. Just somebody that, hey, when we can't maybe run the ball, that we have a guy we can rely on and we can throw it to. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That really feels like how Kirby is. It's not really been like the Julio Jones and A.J. Greens, or, it never had all those studs, like a Henry Ruggs, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, like when you got those wide receivers, Jamison Williams, you don't have that guy, I don't feel like, at Georgia. Even over the past few years, I feel like it's been like with Stetson Bennett, my biggest thing was about him when he was playing with Georgia is that he would just hit the right spots. I think Gunnar at the end of the season was definitely doing that. I mean, when you guys played Alabama, I hate to go back to Alabama, but like when you guys played Alabama that second time, he played a role in that game that was just like not trying to be the reason that they won. He was trying not to be the reason that they lose, if that makes sense. He just said, I'm going to take what the defense gives me. And if he has that mentality this whole year, not to go out and be like, I'm going to make myself a number one overall pick, a Heisman Trophy winner, all those other things. And he just says, I want to go out and win a national title. I'll do whatever it takes to do that. That really could set Georgia apart. To just say, if we have to run the ball, we'll run the ball. If it has to be a game like he played, I mean, really, they probably should have won that game against Ole Miss the second time around. That kid played his absolute tail off and hitting people on the run. If you remember that one play to Colby Young, dude, he got lit up right in the chin. He got it right over that linebacker to Colby Young, and he went streaking down the field. If he can play like that and just make plays when it counts and make plays when he has to and just take what the defense gives you, man, this team's going to be fine no matter really who's at wide receiver.
Yeah, and I agree with that, but there's guys like Mike Bobo alluded to that a lot. He said, I wish that he wants Gunnar Stockton to open it up like he does at practice. He said Gunnar Stockton lets it fly at practice. He'll drop back in the pocket and throw those 40-yard, 50-yard deep balls, but he doesn't really do that in the game. He doesn't do that much at all. Like when he hit Cash Jones when he got lit up, and it was on a targeting call that I felt like might have should have been called, considering Georgia got called with a targeting against Ole Miss later in that game. But yeah, he got lit up in that play, but still flipped it over to Cash Jones, and Cash Jones got it on the 1 yard line. Then guess who lined back up right under center and punched the ball in after that? Gunnar Stockton, the guy that drives an F-250 with 300,000 miles on it. I mean, the guy's just – he's like I say, man, he's just all all go, man. When it comes to Georgia, he's gonna risk his life out there. But yeah,
I
that's
feel like
what
he'd be the guy out there with a broken leg, man. I remember watching the SEC title game. I've never seen somebody get his kappa detated like he wasn't going to go on it. His eyes were looking both ways.
Yeah.
He got up and just next play. It was like, man, that's crazy. That dude had just go about him.
And that's mentality. That's the type of mentality that guy has. That guy has the mentality of, hey, I'm here for Georgia. I'm not here for my health. I'm not here for if I have a concussion or not. I'm going to line back up and I'm going to make this next play happen. But yeah, you're right, man. It does seem you're right about what you said. It does seem like that Georgia hasn't had those big time receivers. When they do have big time receivers, they utilize them the way they can. But yeah, they're just pound the rock. They're run the ball first, and then they lean on their receivers afterwards. But that's why I think hopefully they'll be okay with the receiving core they have coming in.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying that they're no-name receivers either. I don't want to be like disrespectful, but they practically are. It's just another player out there in a Georgia jersey that's going to go out and make it happen. Yeah. I mean, like you said earlier about the linebackers at Alabama or Tennessee, if you are recruited to come to the University of Georgia and play wide receiver, you're not bad.
Yeah, you're going to be a great receiver.
You're going to be a great receiver. You're elite. Yeah. So we know that. We know they're going to have that talent. But I can see where you're coming from, man. Like, if we don't have somebody step up to the plate, I guess it's more or less because of what you've seen with Zachariah Branch. Because you've seen the potential. Man, if we have a stud wide receiver, imagine what we can be.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest reason. It's like we got to find the next guy because we have 1 year with a great one.
And Zachariah Branch, being the great receiver he was, he never had – at least to my memory, I haven't looked this up for sure, but he never had a deep ball. That guy was kind of like the end around type guy, or he was the screen guy, and maybe he was the get gunner out of trouble guy, and he would get open if he needed to, but he never had like the deep ball like that. Yeah. Colby Young had a few.
How fast he was.
Yeah, he was, which he ran a 4.36 at the combine, and also bench press, which is something we need to touch base on here. He hit 225, and he's a 180-pound receiver, 5'10", 180 pounds. He hit 225 20 times. That's insane. That is insane. For a wide receiver to bench press 225 20 times is just unreal. I don't know what the wide receiver record is, but that's gotta be up there. I mean, there's offensive linemen out there that barely repping 20.
Hey, calm down. But yeah, you're right, man. I mean, that's wild. I mean, that just goes to show you, man, he was a different cat. And that's what last week I called him Isaiah Branch all the time. I don't know why, but yeah, Zachariah.
Zachariah Branch.
Good player, man.
And his brother, Zion Branch, he's still on Georgia's roster. So hopefully he's the one that's kind of giving us some help at the linebacker position. But yeah, like I say, I'm more concerned about the receiver position at Georgia, mainly because I think that the linebacker position, the safety position, the corner position, and then the front line for Georgia's defense, I don't have to worry about it too much because as long as Kirby Smart's there, he'll have it figured out. Whether it be Glenn Schumann at defensive coordinator or whether it be me at defensive coordinator, Kirby Smart's going to have it figured out.
So, let me ask you a question real quick, Michael. Are you staying on the Mike Bobo train, or is it Mike Bobo's got to go?
Well, we'll see. We'll see how this season unfolds. But man, I think his offensive scheme was okay. And there were times that every Georgia fan on the planet and every guy that's going to tune into this show would probably thought the same thing. Man, Mike Bobo, what are you thinking? That was a horrible call. And I said that more times than 10. But
we know. But I feel like poke the bear there for a minute. You know.
But I don't know. I feel like as long as Kirby Smart has confidence in those guys, then yeah, I have to. Because he even said that my coordinators and my coaches that are under me are an extension of me. So if you don't think they're a great coach, you don't think I'm a great coach. And I'm riding with Kirby. I hope he coaches at Georgia another 20 years. Although I don't know if he's going to, but
right.
But see, what I'm sitting here thinking, I'm not batting my tongue because I know in your mind, and I know so many other Georgia fans, that when they heard they got a raise, we got to get some deductions.
Yeah. Well, and that's how I felt a little bit, because there was some times that it just felt like, what are we doing, man? And the defense really, the later part of the season last year, they kind of showed up in a way that I was really happy about. And the offense did too. The offense done what they needed to do when they needed to win. Like Texas rolled into Sanford Stadium, and everybody thought, oh, man, big bad Texas. They're coming to beat Georgia finally, because they haven't beat them since they've been in the SEC. Georgia's offense executed exactly the way they needed to for that game. So, and I was happy that Bobo executed that way. So, to me, it's just, I guess we'll see how this season unwinds. And I don't know if I'm going to go to Georgia's G-Day or not, but I know, like I say, we've talked about going to the orange and white game, which will be fun. But, yeah, I don't know if we're doing the G-Day, but I would like to see kind of who they've got out there at the wide receiver position.
Be honest with me, Michael. When you heard Bobo got that bonus or extension, I know you had to think, man, is there nothing else better we can spend that money on? Or
yeah, well, I didn't
get a wide receiver.
Right, get a
yeah. Could we not go out in the portal and spend that money on a top tier wide receiver? Yeah, you're right, but yeah, I think like we had guys like Todd Monken, who's still at the Ravens, or I don't know.
He's at the Browns. He's head coach of the Browns.
Yeah, he got the head coaching job, and that guy had our offense clicking, and Mike Bobo was an assistant under him. So I don't know. A lot of Georgia fan bases, man, they have a bad taste in their mouth about Mike Bobo, stemming way back before Kirby Smart. They didn't like him when Mark Richt was there. So
yeah, that's definitely what it is. But if you guys are ready to pivot, man, I think that was a great segment. But if we want to just pivot to one of our last things we're going to talk about today, and I kind of want to bring this up a little bit to what we kind of been talking about. And what we want to talk about here on this little segment here is coaches that we think are, and really I guess you would say the temperature of these coaches entering 2026. There's going to be some coaches that we think are warming up. And warming up, as I said, somebody maybe off our radar that not many people would think about as being like, could they be on the hot seat at all? And then you got the warm category, that's warm. Simmering is going to be somebody that if this year isn't up to standard where it should be, they're definitely going to be in the hot seat into this year, going into next year. And then the last one we're going to talk about is the hot. Somebody that we know going into this season that if they don't get their act together by week 4 or 5, they're out of here. Because, we talked about, and something that I've thought about is if you could think back to yourself a year ago going into spring football, that you would say James Franklin, somebody that was 30 seconds away from driving down and getting ahead of Notre Dame and going to the national title game. Okay. And Brian Kelly, somebody that was at LSU for 2 years, have made an SEC championship game appearance, all those things that before the season was even over, they're fired.
Yeah.
You would have never in a million years thought that. So that's kind of where our conversation is going to start today, is some coaches that we think that are completely off the radar, that if things go awry, they could be in that same spot. And it's somebody you just mentioned, Michael, with Texas. In my opinion, with Steve Sarkisian, I believe he's in the same boat that James Franklin was in.
Yeah.
You think back to that team James Franklin had. He was there, and he had it where, they're about to be in the national title game, just a couple plays away from an interception and a field goal away from being in the national title game. And it seemed like last year this time that Penn State went all in with their transfers. Their quarterback was coming back. They went and got Jim Knowles. Tennessee did the same thing, but Penn State last year went and got Jim Knowles, and they brought him in. They said he's going to change your offense. They just won a national title with Ohio State, so they're going to make it happen. If you're thinking to this year with Texas, they've gone out. They've went and got an NC State transfer named Hollywood Sanders. They've went and got Cam Coleman out of Auburn. They've went and got a bunch of players, and it seems like, man, this year could be Sark's make or break it year. What do you guys think?
Well, they went and got Will Muschamp, which is going to Will Muschamp on the defensive coordinator role, which is insane. Like, that's a really good pickup for them. And I agree, man. I think Steve Sarkisian is on that kind of warming up category where you got all that oil money and you got all those boosters You got all those boosters in Texas that are saying, "Hey, I want a national championship out of this."
Yeah.
So he went and got Will Muschamp, a guy that's hopefully, well, I hope not, and for my sake, I don't want them to do any better.
Take
But
the bias off of it. Take the bias out of it.
but yeah, if they turn it around and they do really well with Will Muschamp at defense coordinator, then I think they'll turn it around. But if they don't, then yeah, his warm category is going to turn into that simmering really fast. I agree.
Absolutely, man. What is it like his sixth season with Texas?
I think so. He started there in 2021. I guess it'd be going into his fifth.
Fifth, yeah. And you can't get no further than what you do in college football. I mean, that's pretty bad, buddy. I mean, make it to the playoff. I mean, that's
or made it to the SEC championship their first year. Texas's first year in the SEC, they made it all the way to the SEC championship. And that's why all three of us, we went down to that game. And I love those memories from that game, obviously, because it was Georgia. But I told you guys this personally. If it was Alabama playing Texas, if it was Tennessee playing Texas, I probably would have been going for either of those teams. I didn't want Texas to roll up in the SEC and win the SEC conference championship their very first year being there. I just did not want that.
Yeah. Well, so that's true, man. I'm thinking, though, like this year, I really do think that. And it's hard to say that about Sark, but I really think this really could be a make it or break it year for him. And somebody that's kind of on the same kind of pecking order to me that has been at where Sark is, just about it, where it's almost been like he's getting there, but it's just not been enough. It's getting there, but it's just not been enough. Not going to get over that hump, it seems like, is Dan Lanning from out of Oregon. What do you guys think about him? I mean, I think he's somebody, like I said, that he went and I think he won the Big Ten last year, and not this past year, the year before when Ohio State won the whole national title. But they won the Big Ten. They got to where they wanted to go, which is in the Rose Bowl. They were the number one ranked team. They were undefeated that year. Everything, it seemed like it was going for them, and got their doors blown off against Ohio State. And then last year, kind of that same thing. They got all the way to Atlanta with Indiana. Didn't do nothing. I mean, just literally got just embarrassed. I mean, to put it lightly. So it's almost like he keeps getting almost there, but just can't get over that hump. So I wonder how much he's going to be having and saying, okay, I know you're good. I know you're getting us there, but we want to get past that next level. If it doesn't go right for them this year, could he be that next one too? What do you think about it, Chunk?
Well, we talked about, I mean, he seems like a consistent coach, Adam, like consistently, but you can only be so much consistent until you have to execute.
That's right.
And if he doesn't eventually execute, then I could see him, simmering real fast. His seat will be getting hot. I think he's safe right now until something happens. I'm eager to see what happens next year with Oregon. Are they going to go as far as they did this past season? We don't know. But if he don't, I know that seat's going to be getting hot on his tail. If he don't turn it around and do something, execute. So
that's right. Well, while you're talking, what do you think about Michael? We're going to the next one. What do you think about Dan Lanning?
I don't know. I think Dan Lanning's probably another one of those guys, like you say, but he recruits really well, but it's just a matter of winning the big one, and he hasn't done that. And I saw a video kind of during this playoff season. Of course, they had to play Indiana, which isn't a very easy task. And Indiana, and not Indiana, but the Oregon fans were in the stands, and they were like, man, here we go again. We're losing again. We're never going to make it to the big one. But they had to play Indiana. So it's not like they ought to be okay with that. But
not they're playing the cupcake.
Yeah.
Well, that's my biggest thing. I think but you got to think now, these are the coaches that we're talking about. You say Dan Lanning, that's crazy. Well, everybody would have said James Franklin was crazy last year. Everybody would have said firing Brian Kelly before their bye week was crazy last year. So these are just coaches that are off the rails, off the radar, I'd say, on who we think could be on that hot seat going into maybe next year if they don't get it done this year. And Chunk, share that one that you talked about. Maybe that's so close to home.
Oh yeah, I know. I know it kind of shocked you whenever I mentioned it to you, but I know it's going to probably make some Tennessee fans mad on here. But I can't help but think, and I hate to throw our own coach under the bus, but Josh Heupel, man, I mean, he came in here when they hired him, dude. I mean, we won, bowl game. We went to the playoffs. I mean, and then we bomb at 8-5. Being a Tennessee fan, man, bombing like that all the time, it sucks. I'm tired of that. I want to go to the playoff consistently every year. I want to win a national championship and not take since 1998, 99. I mean, my God, man, let's turn Tennessee around. A lot of fire under your tail. And like I said, I hate to say that about Josh Heupel, but I can foresee him being simmering here soon. I mean, if we bomb next year, it's going to suck. I mean, I can see them putting him, eventually the hot seat is coming for him, buddy.
Yeah, that's right. Well, and this year too, you can't blame it on Nico. Last year with the whole Nico situation going into even spring last year, that was a debacle. But this year, man, if it goes the same way and you're not as good as where you want to be, I mean, you're going to have nobody to blame it on but Heupel at this point.
Absolutely. I mean, you can only blame so many people, you know what I'm saying? So
that's right. But this was somebody Michael actually brought up, talking about offensive-minded coach is actually on the simmering category. So remember, that's somebody that is kind of in that warm category, but that if they don't get it together this season, this could really be the make-or-break season right here. And the guy that Michael brought up was Lincoln Riley. What do you think about him, Michael?
Well, I feel like USC kind of went after Lincoln Riley because of his success at Oklahoma, but he's been there since the 2022 season. In 2022, he went 11-3, which is not bad. But in 2023, he went 8-5. 24, he went 7-6, and then this past season he went 9-4, losing to TCU in the Alamo Bowl at the end of the season. And I gotta feel like a program like USC is not content with losing in the Alamo Bowl to TCU. So to me, I feel like that's a guy that's definitely in the simmering category because, man, a program like USC didn't go get you from Oklahoma for you to be losing to TCU in the Alamo Bowl. So regardless of whatever the stuff around that game was, maybe they had some starters sitting out and stuff, which I wouldn't doubt. But yeah, because it's just a bowl game that nobody cares about. But still, you go 9-4 at a program like that, that's not a good look. So I think that's definitely one of those guys that are for sure on that simmering category, where if he doesn't get it together and he doesn't get his program like a consistent playoff team, like Chunk was talking with Tennessee, then he's going to be more than that simmering category for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you too, man. It's just I don't know. Like USC used to be a powerhouse team, man. I mean, do you guys remember Reggie Bush? Yeah. I mean, where's the Reggie Bushes at? What have they turned around there? Where are the studs like that at coming out of USC?
Hey, they had Zachariah Branch.
Yeah, Zachariah.
Georgia.
See Zachariah and Zion Branch, both the brothers, come from USC. They said, "Hey, man, this program's not going anywhere. Let me go to Georgia."
It's got to compete for a title.
I mean, you got to keep
so long.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't let talent like that go, guys. No. I mean, that's what helps the program here.
Which is the big reason that he's in our simmering category right now. Because, man, you let talent like that go. What are they in the Pac-12 or something? I don't know what.
No, they're in the Big Ten.
Big Ten?
Yeah.
USC's in the Big Ten?
Yeah, Pac-12's gone, buddy. I mean, get with the program here.
So Pac-12's gone.
I'm surprised you still remember Reggie Bush, man.
So yeah,
you remember that Washington, Oregon, USC, all of them come over.
So they're not even being a contender for their own conference championship, let alone making it to the playoffs.
Right. Well, if you thought back to your first point there, whenever he had Caleb Williams, they were kind of in that picture of like they were in the picture of the Pac-12 title contention, and then I think they got beat by Utah that year. But you got to think the reason he was so good, man. Look, he had a quarterback, Caleb Williams. I mean that cat, son, he was different. But yeah, their biggest problem has been quarterback too, consistency. And you thought that with like a Josh Heupel, with a Lincoln Riley, these type of coaches that it didn't matter who you threw out there, you're gonna have a great quarterback. But it just hasn't happened for them.
Yeah,
the past few years. at USC. So that's been the biggest problem that he's really had. And that's what kind of brings us talking about Lincoln Riley, brings us to our next guy. That when Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma, Brent Venables came in. And if you remember back last year, Brent Venables was more on like a hot seat talk. He was talked about, can he really make the step? Can he make the next move? And yes, they went to the playoff, but what if they don't this year? That's my thing. That when talking about coaches in this simmering category, they were already ready to do something going into last year. But if John Mateer and that offense just doesn't progress like it was at the beginning of the season, then I mean you can blame it on a lot of Mateer's hand. You could do a lot of that. I know and understand that. But it does seem like maybe Brent Venables could be in that same category of like, is he getting ready to be on that hot seat if he can't take the next step this season to make them a true contender that when you get the playoffs and you're up 17 points, you can't bring it home? I mean, as a St. Bama fan, I'm thanking God they did not. But I'm saying that you can't bring it home when you're up 17 points. I mean, there's a problem there. And it all starts with the head man.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about him?
Well, while you're at home, too, like you say, they had that home slot, which is really good. I feel like every team that has that home playoff game really ought to utilize that to the best of their advantage. And like you say, they had Alabama at home. They had beaten them in the regular season away, but they couldn't get it done. They couldn't get it done after being up 17-0. And now I think a bunch of people have him in that simmering category as well as us because, you got to think about what he's going to do this coming season. Is he going to be a guy that goes out there and gets these guys kind of going in the right direction, or is it going to be a kind of dwindle out season like he had this past year? Because making the playoffs is great. That's absolutely great. But you go to the playoffs and you lose is not a good thing. Like Georgia's lost the Sugar Bowl the last 2 years in a row. And that doesn't set well with us. So I couldn't imagine how Oklahoma feels. As a matter of fact, I think we saw a stat. You and I talked about a stat with Oklahoma, and this is before Brent Venables' time there as well. But they've made the playoffs five times. I think they've made the playoffs 5 times, and they're 0-5.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
They never had won a playoff game. That's right.
Never. After making it 5 times. So I know that entire program, that fan base, everybody wants something to change. And if it doesn't, Brent Venables will be the next one on the chopping block.
Yeah, that's where it all starts, buddy.
Yeah.
What do you think about it, Chunk? What's your opinion about Brent Venables?
Absolutely. I mean, I agree 100% there. Just when you go to the playoffs like that, I mean, that's that expectation, that standard that you set for your team. And if you don't keep meeting that expectation, I mean, he's out the door, guys. He's out the door. So I agree with you there. I mean, 100%. So
yeah, I really think that he could be on his way out. And what's scary about that, for your sake, that let's say Heupel does have a good year, if Venables goes, that's my first call.
Yeah.
Oh, Heupel. So
Oh yeah. No
I don't know. It's kind of like a do you want it, do you not type of thing. But somebody else I'm thinking, last coach I'm thinking about in the simmering category tonight was Dabo Swinney. What do you guys think about what Dabo Swinney has done? I mean, we know that Dabo has always been great. Man went to the national title, won a couple against my team, Alabama. He was ACC champion for years running, all those things. But I think Michael kind of alluded to it last week, talking about how he's just not willing to change and maybe coming to the new way of college football, the new wave. And what hurts him is like when he tries to dip his toe, that you got somebody like Pete Gold that comes in there and tries to take his players that are in class. I mean, all these things going on. I mean, I don't think he loves the way college ball is going right now, but I just think really not even talking about the exterior things. I'm talking about on the field. It doesn't seem like he's where it needs to be right now.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to build a statue of Dabo. We know that. Dabo's been great. But when you, like me and Michael, have seen, coming from experience of winning national titles, that is your standard. It's not to come in and be competitive. Good is not good enough.
Yeah.
Right? You want to be elite every single year. So when the Clemson fans are used to being in the playoffs, they're used to winning championships, they're used to all the glory and all the goodness that college football brings, and you're going and just putting out a team that really just doesn't work on a consistent basis and is losing to teams that really talent for talent, they shouldn't even be in the same category. Yeah. Like Louisville going out there, I think it was last year or the year before, and just getting boat raced. When like that should never happen to Clemson. when they just get beat and it's almost inexplicable, so that's kind of my thought on Dabo. What's your guys' thought?
Well, you know what? I mean, that guy should have already been out the door, man. I mean, I believe he's paying somebody to stay there, I mean, he can't be – there's only one Nick Saban. He can't be Nick Saban, you know what I'm saying? And I think the Clemson Tiger fans are feeling like us Vol fans used to feel. Like I'm sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired. When are we going to get back to Clemson football? You know what I'm saying? And, that's my opinion on it. When is Clemson going to be Clemson again?
Yeah.
And how much longer are they going to let this drag out, man?
Yeah. And he wants to that guy right there, he wants to live and die on the same hill that he's kind of built up. He has, and he's been a great coach. He's built this hill up. But you can't live and die on that. When the landscape of college football changes and evolves like it has over the last 5 years, not even 5, it's been sooner than that. The last 3 to 4 years, college football has changed immensely. So Kirby Smart has to jump on board with that if he wants to plan on staying being Georgia's head coach. I mean, every coach has to evolve with it. If you don't, you're left in the dust. But like you say, he does evolve with it. And you got a guy over there at Ole Miss that just kind of goes in there and plucks his player right out of class. So that kind of stuff isn't cool either. But that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah. Well, it's not, but it really shouldn't happen. I think the NCAA is trying to put a good stop to it. But, I mean, you got to work with what you got. And like he said when he had that big press conference talking about it, it's happening to everybody. And even though he came out and he's the one that said something about it, it's going on absolutely everywhere. So I know that sometimes they say you have to evolve or you die. You evolve or you die. You're either evolving or you're dying. And I don't know if Dabo is evolving. It feels more like that program and that team is dying every day. Yeah. So if there needs to be a change, it does start with the head man, which is sad to say. I love Dabo. I love what he stands for and as a person. But, man, when it comes to production on the field, that's where it all comes in.
It just feels like they're spinning their wheels in the mud, Adam. Like you always say, they're not going nowhere. They're not going nowhere.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, but I'll tell you somebody that is going somewhere this year, I do believe. Amen. But that's going to be in our hot category. And we'll start out tonight with somebody. I think if you watch college football and you know anything about it, the one team that you could say that he's probably done is Mike Norvell at Florida State. Okay. Yeah. Going into last year, I believe he was 5-7 last year. Year before that, he was 2-10, I think. I mean, they did beat Alabama. They got hang their hat on that, but last year. But he's a guy that, they did have that one spurt in 2023 where, or 2024, I'm sorry, but they looked great. They looked really good and they thought they really had it. But ever since then, it was 2023. I apologize. But whenever they thought that they had it, then they just can't seem to get over that hump now. And, he's the one that where Dabo doesn't want to dip his toe at all in the portal. He wants to recruit from high school. Mike Norvell has almost the complete opposite approach, that he builds his team through the portal. And that we can see that. I've heard that it more or less is because of his buyout, that he wasn't fired this past year, and they're giving him this one season. But, they made the change in offensive coordinator from Gus Malzahn. He's now gone. They're losing their quarterback. They were hoping to get back. And so what is he going to do? And me and Shunt were talking in the car, and their schedule, absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, their first 6 games, he could easily just win 2 games out of 6. Yeah. He could be 2-6 right off the bat. And if you start the season out like that, listen to me good, he's gone. Okay, he's gone.
Yeah. He'll be fired halfway through the season.
Yeah, go ahead and start a GoFundMe, Mike Norvell. You need it, buddy.
Not with that buyout. I'll tell you what, not with that buyout.
He'll be fired halfway through the season, I think, because he's not going into Tuscaloosa. He is not going into Tuscaloosa and beating Alabama after the way they started the regular season. And really, you guys can kind of hang your hat on that. Y'all saved Mike Norvell's job this year. The biggest win of his entire season this past season was that game, that week 1 game. Yeah. But we're all in the tri-state area, hence our name, Tri-State Tailgate. But in the Tri-State area, we had that cold front come in not long ago. And people were talking about how, man, look how freezing cold it is and everywhere, even South Georgia. But it did not get to that Tallahassee, Florida, line. And they said that's because Mike Norvell's seat is so hot that it's warm in the whole area. His seat is so hot.
Yeah, that's right. It's bad. I mean, really, if he doesn't do something, it has to be immediate. I think they have a cupcake. I can't remember who exactly it was, but then they go to SMU. And then I think they play another cupcake before they come to Tuscaloosa. And then after that, they played, who was it? I know Miami was in there, Virginia. Right out the gate. Virginia should win the ACC. Yeah, they did them no favors. And that's the number one. Like, if you watch college football, you know that name, Mike Norvell. He's more than likely on the hot seat. So
I'm starting to sweat just thinking about it. It's getting hot in here, buddy.
Right, that's right. Don't take off your clothes, okay? But next one we'll talk about here on the hot seat out of just the three we have tonight is somebody in the SEC is Shane Beamer. That's a team in South Carolina that, they do have Lenore Sellers coming back, but their schedule does them no favors at all. The way they start out the season, it does not look good. And, the reason you really bring these guys up and the reason you say they can be gone by week 4 or 6, if you guys remember that the way the transfer portal window is, the way the recruiting window is, all these coaching firings are happening so early that the team can already have a coach in place for the recruits and for the portal and all these things. You can't wait no more till after the season to fire a coach because you'll miss a recruiting class. You'll miss all these things that just won't happen because you don't have a coach. Yeah. So that's why I think if Shane Beamer doesn't get off to the hot start, especially with Lenore Sellers, that is a talent that South Carolina cannot waste in Lenore Sellers. If they can't get off to a hot start, he's somebody really you could say in week 4, 5, 6 that, sad to say, you could see him gone.
Yeah, absolutely. What'd they go 4-8 last year? Hey, listen to this. Hey, their signature win last year, Virginia Tech. Come on, man. Come on, Shane.
Yeah.
He started coaching good, but now he's in the same situation right now that we're in with Josh Heupel is can you take us there again,
Yeah. Well, it felt like he was kind of building towards that peak they had where they were knocking on the playoff door, not last year, but the year before. They're knocking on the door. But it felt like he was building towards that, and then last year, and then what looks to be coming down the line this upcoming year, if it doesn't go right, he could be on the hot seat very easily.
Yeah. He's another one of those guys I think may be out pretty soon. He doesn't have a bad slate. You got Kent State to start the season. Towson Tigers, they're coming there. Then you got Mississippi. Then you get into conference play. You got Mississippi State, Alabama, Kentucky, Florida, Tennessee, Oklahoma, and Texas A&M, Arkansas, Georgia's back on their schedule. So by the end of the season, and then they finish with Clemson, and that's the battle of the two guys that are probably maybe losing their job.
Hey, let me ask you this right now: can you predict will Dabo Swinney and Shane Beamer both be in that game?
I don't think both of those guys will be in the game.
Will either of them be in that game?
It may be neither, but I think one of the two for sure. You can count it right here on the Tri-State Tailgate podcast that one of those two will not be the head coach of that program
If not both.
If not both.
Go ahead and get the buyouts ready, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're out of here by week 4.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Look, if you look at this right here, the buyouts, I was looking at this I think it was in 2025. We'll just do right here in 2025. It was Sam Pittman, nearly $10 million. Hugh Freeze, $16 million. Billy Napier, $21 million. Mark Stoops, $38 million. And Brian Kelly, $54 million. That's nearly $120 million in buyout money.
That teams.
Tell me where to go and what door you want me out of. All right.
That teams were okay with paying. Were okay with paying just to get onto their next coach. Like LSU is throwing money every way. LSU threw money at Brian Kelly. That was a bust. they kind of got rid of a guy with Ed Ogeron, who I thought might not have been a bad place to stay, but they got rid of him to get Brian Kelly, and now they went after Lane Kiffin, and Lane Kiffin's another guy that they're just throwing money at. So I don't know. I mean, they're what is the education? There's some sort of education rate that's in LSU or the state of Louisiana that isn't very high, but God forbid they're going to try their best to have a good college football team. I tell you that. They're not going to dump the money in academics.
No, they're going to dump it right there to get them Tigers going. We want to get them Tigers going. Yeah, that's what they are, man. But, I mean, what just – it boggles my mind. And we're going to look back on this episode probably and say, man, we didn't even talk about them. And they're not with the team at the end of the season. Yeah. That was somebody that we didn't even talk about. Like, I was going to bring up Luke Fickell, but, I think he's gone either way. But, I mean, who is somebody that is not – like, we're not even on our radar right now that's going to be that coach who gets fired? We don't know yet, but I assure you by the end of the season it will be somebody that does surprise us. Where it's like, man, if we would have said that, and I don't bet, but if you would have bet on that at the beginning of the season, man, you would have got a lump sum of money to say by the end of the season they were gone. I mean, there's always going to be that one, but these are just a few that we think that really can be on the warm seat, which is somebody, like we said earlier, that could be getting to that simmering point if the season don't go right. The simmering is somebody that we thought that if their season doesn't go good at all and doesn't go the way they are, they're definitely going to be on the hot seat. And then this hot category was people that we think are going to be out by week 4, 5, or 6. So I really think that there's going to be somebody out there that does surprise us, but you hate to see somebody lose their job. You're not going for that either. You're just looking at it from facts of like, this is what you've been putting on the field. And if you don't change and they don't get right or get turned around, it's not going to end well for anybody.
Yeah.
So that's definitely the case. But y'all got any kind of final thoughts into closing out the podcast for this week?
No, I think we touched base on just about everything that we said we would.
Well, like I say, I mean, I'm glad we're all starting our spring practices very soon. And I think some of our fears are going to get put to bed very quickly and very soon. I think we're more worried about it now because it's just unproven. But I think by the time we get to what would be so nice, by the time we get to midseason or even at the start of the season, to say, man, those things I worried about wasn't even a worry.
Yeah.
That those positions of like main concern that I had wasn't even nothing. Somebody stepped right into that role, played it just like we should, and this is the standard that has been set. And so that's going to make it feel real nice if that does happen. But it's only soon to say. But man, I can't thank you guys enough for joining us tonight and being here with us. If you made it all the way to the end of this episode, God bless you. And we love you, and we're thankful that you're here. And I hope that Tri-State Tailgate is a place you come for all of your college football talk. We want to be here to inform you, to entertain you, and just show our love and appreciation to college football because it's something we all have in common. And just this is a discussion with just some good friends just talking about the sport we love, and just giving our opinions to you, the viewer and at home. So thank you guys for all your love and support this past week, and we're hoping to keep growing this thing. But please like, share, and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Ring that bell on YouTube. Go to our TikTok. We got a YouTube page, of course, and we got a Facebook page now. Share with your friends. Go on your wife's phone. Hit subscribe. Whatever you got to do, just make it happen. We want to grow this channel as fast as possible to get the word out there that Tri-State Tailgate is truly here to stay. So you guys got any final thoughts?
No, I agree with that, man. I think that, like you say, and we've talked about this before on the first show, that this is just a cool platform for three friends that want to talk college football, and we talk college football all the time in our downtime. So we thought, man, how cool would it be to just talk about it on this show? So
that's right.
So yeah, and give some entertainment to some people if we have some entertainment factor.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
a real good experience. Something that we were fearful at first, but hey, we're stepping out, and I hope all of our viewers enjoy the show.
Yeah, that's right. Well, just as like we say with the players that we're talking about not have no experience, the only way to do it is to do it.
Yeah.
The only way to get experience is to go out and do it. That's
you got to jump in both feet, buddy.
Both feet, buddy. All the way. So we love you guys, and like I said, man, we're going to hopefully grow this channel. We want you guys to grow with us. and can't wait to see where we're going to go. So I guess we'll end it like we did last week. If you guys are ready, I guess we'll do tailgate on me, tailgate on 3. You ready? 1, 2, 3, tailgate.